You guys know, Islander Robotics here. Will here and Wolfy here. Today I was doing some work on those new upgrades I was showing you guys in the last episode. I'm not going to show you guys reinstalling all of them for the other legs, but I thought that when I first started off doing 3D printed parts and installing brass inserts, there wasn't very much on the on YouTube on how to install them. So I thought, why don't I show you guys how I install brass inserts so that Wolfy can keep himself together. Alright, so I'm going to bring you guys in closer. I'm going to show you all the tools. Pointer, the tools that I'm using are not the ones I use every time I do brass inserts. These are the tools that I used when I first started off. So I want to show you guys who are just starting off installing brass inserts what materials you guys can get, and relatively cheap too. So why don't I bring you in closer and show you what I got. Okay guys, I brought you in closer so I can show you all the tools I'll be using. But first I have to explain how brass inserts work, which is also going to explain the tools that I'm using. In order for the brass insert to fit, to go into these holes that are already 3D printed in circumstance to this 100% infill, you have to take a brass insert just like this, grab it with tweezers, needle nose pliers, whatever you got that's got a tip like matter. As long as you can grab them like this so your hand's far away from the wicked hot soldering iron. From the wicked hot soldering iron. Now, this is due to, the reason why I have to use a soldering iron for this is because you have to get this brass insert extremely hot so that you can just go like this. This is also a dry run. Push it straight in. Once it hits the level top of this, go on top so that the needle nose, whatever you got, needle nose, tweezers, is on top of the level part of the 3D printed part. And then you pull it up, because the soldering iron is going to be so hot that if it sticks for some reason to this 3D printed part, if this brass insert sticks to the soldering iron, the soldering iron will also pull it up. That is why I suggest using needle nose or pliers. Besides the point of being able to hold the brass insert into the correct hole, well, above the correct hole, without having to use your fingers and burning yourself from the soldering iron. Now, also real quick, I'm going to put links in the description for not this exact soldering iron. My dad got me this back in high school, but a Amazon link, but a link to a model just like this soldering iron, as well as a link to a model of for needle nose pliers like this. That is so you guys have an idea of what where to find these tools without having to go out of your way getting confused. You can get both these tools at any hardware store. Soldering iron is going to be anywhere from $10 to $20. Needle nose pliers, I'm not sure on that one, but again, I will have links to both these tools in the description below. Now, I also do realize having a gum container in this video is probably pretty intimidating for you guys, since you guys think, oh, I have to get a huge thing of these and they're only one size. They're not. When I first started, I got an assortment of brass inserts just like this. I will also leave a link to where I got this assortment pack of brass inserts. This is actually one of my favorite assortment packs because of the threading the brass inserts have. I'll leave a picture. Nope. Move out of the way. I will leave a picture by Wolfy's leg of what they look like. But if you watch the last video, they're set up the same exact way. Now, for me, for me, what I learned. Now, you guys, I'm gonna go heat up the soldering iron, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna show you guys how to install these. All right, guys. So, soldering iron's over here, wicked hot. I brought you guys to a different angle because this will show better of what I'm doing with the brass insert. Now, for starters, I'm left-handed. If you're right-handed, same exact way. Take the soldering iron. Again, do not touch the metal part whatsoever. Touch the plastic. Metal's wicked hot. Like really, really hot. Take the brass insert, just like this, with your needle nose. Come over to this hole with the needle nose. Take the soldering iron. Align it a little better. Back the needle nose away. Push in. And then once it's level with the 3D printed part, come above it. Close a little bit. So that way, it's just like that. Alright? Now, to make sure that the hole is level, come over with a screw. Screw it in. Make sure it's level, look at it, because this is still hot enough for you to manipulate it. Once it heats up, it's going to be once it cools down, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But that is all it does. That is all it takes to install a brass insert. Alright. Hopefully I showed you guys that installing brass inserts are really not that difficult. But there's 3 more things I have to mention to you. And there should be a picture coming up over here of 2 brass inserts, one smaller and one bigger. I don't think my finger showed them. But anyways, there's a smaller one and a bigger one. I'm going to cut to the chase because it's just very simple. Smaller one doesn't have enough surface area to attach onto a 3D printed part, while the bigger one has more surface area than the smaller one, so therefore it's able to grab onto the 3D printed part more as well as it's able to grab onto the 3D printed part more than the smaller one, which is something you want when the brass insert is load bearing. But you also have to keep another thing in mind, which I learned when I found Wolfy can do this, which is something I found out a few months ago. I just haven't fixed it yet. Well, not 3 months, a few months ago. Probably started doing that in the front one over here. So the front one started doing this about a year ago, and the other ones kind of didn't start doing it because I didn't put the screws in until about a few months ago. So I've known about this for a while, which is why I came up with this rule. You take, which is outer diameter is subtract to get the diameter of the hole. The diameter of the hole equals outer diameter of brass insert minus 0.25 millimeters. So, for example, over here there should be another picture of this bigger one. The bigger one has 3 sections, 1 inner and 2 outer. 2 outer ones are the only ones I care about. The inner one does have some factors that play into this, but it's too scientific for me to explain. The only ones you care about is the outer diameter of those 2 outer rings. It should be like one middle, the top ones, okay? The circumstance of that brass insert, it's 5 millimeters. So if we plug it into that equation, 5 minus 0.25 millimeters equals 4.75, which is the exact diameter of all the holes that will have brass inserts, these bigger ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. The diameter of those holes are 4.25. That is important because too big, you get this. Too small, and the brass insert fills up with filament. Alright? Now that 0.25 is like that little sweet spot I found that makes it perfect. Makes it so that the brass insert doesn't do this and doesn't fill up with filament. Alright? Now, that's the end of those 2 tips. This one has nothing to really do with brass inserts, but the screw that goes into the brass insert. The hole right here, just do it this way. Leave you a little bit of tolerance because that brass insert is not going into these holes perfectly centered. You're going to have to give yourself a little bit of tolerance. And the tolerance I usually give myself is 0.5 millimeters to a whole millimeter. So I was looking for a screw. I thought I had one over here, but I don't. So the screws that are going into this hole are M3s, meaning their diameter is 3 millimeters. I made the holes 3.5 to 4 millimeters. That gives me just enough tolerance so I can put the screw in, and then over time that brass insert will actually move into the correct spot it's needed to on the 3D printed part. It's not going to give out or anything, but it's just going to flex a little bit because of that screw is being put into it. And that's really it for this video, guys. Ooh. Alright guys, that's all I got for brass inserts. Showed you guys how to install them, gave you guys those 3 tips, and as you can tell, none of this was planned out. I was kind of just working on Wolfy and decided, hey, I'm going to make a video. But anyways, the point of this video was to show my weekly viewers, show you guys more what goes on, what made Wolfy what he is now, what things I had to learn, what topics I had to learn on my own to get him put together and where he is now. As well as I want to show the new makers that are just getting into 3D printing how to install brass inserts. For those of you that are watching this that have never installed a brass insert and are trying to figure out how to install them, please do not take anything I say and think it's the only way to do it. Take my advice and tweak it to what makes sense to you. Okay, guys? But anyways, thank you so much for I'm going to try being more upbeat even though I'm exhausted from school this week. Thank you so much for watching. If Wolfy was awake, he'd be waving to you guys just like in the last video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, bye.